We're live? Yep. All right, we are live once again. Live 26. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Mary. The whole goal here is to seek the truth, and I talk a lot. And the reason why I said it like that is because for some reason, maybe it's supposed to be like this. Who knows? Everything happens for a reason. I'm a believer of that. People for some reason when they see the name Mary Truth Talks, they assume that, or they come up with this conclusion that I speak the truth, right? And this is a channel of truth, and that's not what the channel is about. So the channel is to seek the truth, to find the truth. Does not mean what I say is the truth. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's weird that I have to explain this, but I guess like the more I clarify, I guess the more clear the mission will become. And this whole conversation we're gonna have today is gonna be pretty much based on that, on like how we need to be more transparent. We need to have more discussions. We need to be more open to debating to find the closest to the truth as we possibly can. Because I feel like, from my observation, and you guys can, say what you guys think, but for the past couple of years, it's been like, this is the way, and this is what you have to believe in, and don't question this, because if you question it, then you're a radical, or you're a threat to democracy, or anything else, anything that's negative. Instead of, I don't know, maybe I don't really resonate with what you're saying and I'm questioning it for a reason. So why can't we just have an open debate about it? Why can't we just have an open discussion? And I feel like you find truth by having more people debate a topic than just relying on a expert or somebody who thinks they know it all, or the facts, because the facts can be debunked and then you have to go back to the drawing board and figure out where you went wrong. I feel like we've I don't know what happened, but we have to go back to that. We have to go back to finding the truth by having an open discussion about topics, no matter how awkward or controversial they may be. And I feel like I had to say that mainly because of my last live. Those who saw it know why I'm saying this. And you know what? It's fine. Everything happens for a reason. It is what it is. I already gave my reaction about it on Instagram. So if you don't have me on Instagram, follow me, Mary_Truths, and on TikTok, Mary_Truths. And let's get started here. All right. So AG, Attorney General Pam Bondi, sues New York Governor and Attorney General Letitia James of New York. The judge unblocked the federal worker buyout, which is, they had blocked it originally and now they just recently unblocked it. So that's breaking news. Elon Musk at the Oval Office. A lot of people didn't like that, right and left. Well, left obviously didn't like it for other reasons. The right didn't like it for, whatever, we'll talk about it. The Department of Education has been disbanded. We'll see what that means. Marco Rubio and the Panama Canal. Now we're understanding why he chose Marco Rubio. A lot of people were criticizing him as the pick. Now we know why. The Associated Press has been barred from White House press briefings. This has made the Democrats go ballistic, but we'll talk about it. Constitutional crisis is the new messaging of the left. They have like seasons where they have like a specific messaging. It used to be fascist, and then it was Hitler, and then it was a threat to democracy, and now it's constitutional crisis. So there's always something new. Brazil attacks free speech. They're not the only country that's doing that, but we're going to touch on that. And the IRS came after a reporter. This happened about 3 years ago, and we're finding more about it now. Go figure. So let's get to it. All right, so U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi has initiated a lawsuit against New York Governor Kathy Hochul and Attorney General Letitia James. The lawsuit challenges New York's green light law, which permits undocumented immigrants to obtain driver's licenses and restricts the sharing of DMV information with federal immigration authorities. That's wild. That's incredible. Bondi asserts that this law undermines the federal immigration enforcement and poses a threat to public safety. During a press conference, which we will watch for a little bit, Bondi emphasized her preference for state cooperation over litigation, stating, "We don't want to sue you. We don't want to prosecute people. We just want states to comply with the law." Pretty common sense stuff, but common sense right now has become a campaign slogan for the right, which is kind of sad if you really think about it, but whatever. If it has to come to this, it is what it is. So check it out. Check out Pam Bondi. Ready?
We're here today because we have filed charges against the state of New York. We have filed charges against Kathy Hochul. We have filed charges against Letitia James and Mark Schroeder, who is with DMV. This is a new DOJ, and we are taking steps to protect Americans, American citizens, and angel moms, like the mom standing right behind me, who you're going to hear from in a moment. New York has chosen to prioritize illegal aliens over American citizens. It stops today. As you know, we sued Illinois, and New York didn't listen. So now you're next. Millions of illegal aliens with violent records have flooded into our communities, bringing violence and deadly drugs with them.
All right. So this is just, a lot of people are, saying that this is just a way in. There was actually a video of if you can look this one up, this is not on the guidelines, but if you can really quick, maybe ChatGPT it, Bill O'Reilly in Cuomo's News Nation, you'll find it. It's Bill O'Reilly with Chris Cuomo on News Nation talking about who they really want is Letitia James. Because she literally ran on, I'm going to get Trump. Cuomo? Cuomo. What did it do at lockdown? Thank you for showing up. Jose de Leon, as always, I appreciate you. And common sense ain't so common nowadays. No, it's not. It's not, unfortunately. But you know what? That's fine. Well, we're going to make it, we're going to do our best. We can't really make anything happen, but all we can do is kind of subscribe to the common sense, and hopefully people tag along in this common sense campaign that we're doing now.
What are they saying in the video?
So Bill O'Reilly is talking about how Donald Trump wants Letitia James. Something along those lines. It should pop up. That clip went kind of viral, and Patrick Bet-David was talking about it on PBD's YouTube.
I'm assuming it's this one.
It has to say News Nation on it, because if it doesn't, then they're gonna copyright it. If you can't find, if you can't find it, I'm gonna have to look for it later while we watch another video. Because that was interesting. What she's doing is legal. You can sue a state if they're going against federal laws. You can do that. Especially when it comes to immigration, you can definitely do that. Because if they came here illegally, and they're not supposed to be here, and you're taking care of them on taxpayer money, then yes, the United States Attorney General has every right to sue. Is it that one?
This isn't from News Nation, but this is from Bill O'Reilly's channel.
Is it on X?
No.
Oh, no. If it's not on has to be either on News Nation or on X.
I couldn't find it.
Okay, it's fine. I'll look for it because I have it on my history. So if the U.S. Attorney General, which is the person that is picked by the president, they are, at the end of the day, they're like the lawyer, technically, of the people, right, of the executive branch. She has a right to sue any state that goes against federal law. And this one is an easy way in, considering Letitia James is, according to Bill O'Reilly, I wish I can show you guys, this guy has been in press forever.
I found it.
This guy's like a dinosaur. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, you went to your history. You could have just said that.
Oh, sorry.
But it's like 19 minutes long.
Yeah, it's a part in that video.
Oh, bro.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would have to like.
Yeah, no.
I have the clip. It's just
It's
need to
too
find it.
long.
Whatever. Point is, this guy, who's known about history, he's a historian, but at the same time, he's also a journalist. Knows that Letitia James ran on I'm gonna get Trump, and now that Trump has Pam Bondi in, Pam Bondi's like super. I'm for the law. She's going to justify going after Letitia James with the law on her side, which is a smart thing to do. That way they can't use, any political whatever. Oh, you're using your, political power to go against somebody else. They can't use that if they're actually going against the law and they're using the law to get them to fucking comply. If they comply, we'll see. So the next one is judge unblocked the federal work. Okay, so this is wild. So Elon Musk did a resignation letter, or Elon Musk and like some of Donald Trump's crew, however it happened, they created a resignation letter and they just send an email to everybody that's in the federal workforce. And they pretty much said, if you accept this resignation, we will literally pay you for 8 months straight. So you don't have to work and you get paid for 8 months straight. And a lot of people were like, fuck it. And they signed off on this. And then a federal judge was like, you can't do that. And then it should go through, the legal process or whatever. And then now they officially unblocked it. So check it out.
Okay, hold on. I was a little fast.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were.
Something.
Okay.
Sounds fine, I got it.
Okay.
Right now, as the federal buyout is back on, as a judge has now cleared the way. I do want to put up some of these posts on social media about this from Fox 5 DC saying, Justin, a federal judge cleared the way for President Donald Trump's deferred resignation program, the Fork in the Road program aimed at downsizing the federal workforce. So the federal judge there moving it forward, pressing play on this initially paused kind of movement as a federal judge on Wednesday cleared the way for President Donald Trump's plan. The U.S. District Judge George O'Toole Jr. in Boston found a group of labor unions didn't have legal standing to challenge the program, of course, commonly described as a buyout. So some big news as the President Donald Trump wants to use his financial incentives to encourage government employees to quit. According to the White House, tens of thousands of workers have already taken the government up on its offer. This deferred resignation program has been spearheaded by Elon Musk, who is serving as Trump's top advisor for reducing federal spending. Under the plan, employees can stop working and get paid until September the 30th. Labor unions argued the plan is illegal and asked for O'Toole to keep it on hold and prevent the Office of Personnel Management from soliciting more workers to sign up. A Justice Department lawyer called the plan, quote, a humane off-ramp for federal employees who may have structured their lives around working remotely and have been ordered to return to government offices. So some big news in terms of that, and you can see there Elon Musk, who was in the Oval Office yesterday talking about this. But this is some big news, and we're also hearing comments coming in from the White House, including from the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. I want to put up a post from Joey Garrison, USA Today White House correspondent, saying on this, the Massachusetts judge allowing Trump's federal employee buyouts to move forward. He says in this post, as the press secretary says, this Boston buyout ruling is the first in many legal wins for the president. The court dissolved the injunction due to a lack of standing. This goes to show that lawfare will not ultimately prevail over the will of 77 million Americans who supported President Trump and his priorities. Of course, we heard from Caroline Leavitt earlier on today at the White House, echoing similar comments. Also, a post here from Jonathan Turley saying some of us have been arguing that President Trump clearly has the authority to offer the deferred buyout for employees. Now the court has restored the program in a significant win for the administration. So this
And a significant win. We're going to have a lot of wins. So buckle up, those who are not prepared for this. All right, so the next one is Elon Musk at the Oval Office. So a lot of people are like losing their minds about this. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I'm going to show you a little clip of it. It's like 5 minutes. It's just for you guys to get your reaction. You're going to get mine, but let's watch this really quick together. It's a little weird, but whatever, you know, it is what it is.
Coming Ruffin?
X, are you okay? This is X, and he's a great guy, high IQ. He's a high IQ individual.
And he's got this, check out this cool chain he's got.
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we've had a great discussion, terrific discussion concerning Gaza and everything else. We had discussions also about Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's Doge, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I say we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us from looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. And we want to weed out the corruption.
Yeah,
and it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's very serious. I think it's a very serious violation. I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say what is the goal of Doge, and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, aren't we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, okay, X, we'd have to. If you sorry. So, I tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes.
Oh, God.
So if there's not a good feedback loop from the people to the government, and if you have rule of the bureaucrat, if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy, we live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the President, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that is responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And so, and if you looked at this, if you asked the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking, because we spend a lot of money on defense. But and if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens, and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
All right, that's it. All right, and then he goes more into detail on like what he's doing. I recommend you guys watch it. It's worth watching. But a lot of people don't like the fact that he was in the Oval Office with his son, because his son was a distraction, as you saw. A lot of people don't like that he was kind of like behind the desk. There's a lot of symbolism in the president's desk, and a lot of people just didn't like that he was like behind the desk, that he should have been next to it, not behind it. Sure, I guess for optics, that matters. But this is really sparking a huge debate on the left because of the fact that we have somebody that was not elected that is pretty much giving his opinion on what needs to be fixed in the system. However, I don't see how that's a bad thing, because the people that are elected aren't really doing their job, and they take forever to get a job done. So to be honest with you, I don't see how this is a bad thing overall. I understand that the way they're doing it is so abrupt that a lot of people are saying it's illegal or unconstitutional. But if you want to take it up to the Supreme Court, take it up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is going to decide at the end of the day. But I don't see why the Supreme Court will decide that cutting unnecessary spending in the federal government is an overall bad thing, considering, like you said, we owe a lot of money. So, we should look at our expenses, and maybe there's a lot of things that we should cut. I mean, we do it individually, If you see that your income isn't what it was last month, then okay, well, to still like live, let's cut some expenses. Everybody does that when they go through a hard patch. So I don't understand why it should be any different from a government. Why shouldn't a government be audited? This is essentially what's going on right now. Elon Musk and the two people that have been elected by the Treasury are auditing the federal government, and people are losing their minds about it, because there's going to be things that are going to come out that are going to be very controversial, and it's going to probably even contradict what the left has been saying, and some people on the right have been saying. So, and some people are not going to be able to, they're not going to know how to cope with it. But I think this has to happen. It's like you said, it has to happen. And I'm so glad that we're on this timeline that Donald Trump won. Because if we would have been on the other timeline, which we'll get to what that would have probably looked like, it would have been very scary. So we're going to talk about the Department of Education has been disbanded. So let's look into that. Funny enough, I'm using AP News for this. The irony is funny. All right, so AP News says, all right, so Linda McMahon, I don't know if I said her name right. Sorry, Linda. On Thursday, sketched out how key functions of the Education Department could be carved up to achieve President Donald Trump's goal of dismantling the agency, vowing to reorient the department while continuing some of its largest programs. At her confirmation hearing, she said that she would preserve core initiatives, including Title I money for low-income schools, Pell Grants for low-income college students, and public service loan forgiveness. She said the Trump administration wants to do this right, and she believes it would take an act of Congress to abolish the department. We'd like to make sure that we are presenting a plan that I think our senators could get on board with, and our Congress could get on board with, that would have a better functioning Department of Education. Her closing, by closing the department certainly does require congressional action. So she acknowledges that Congress does effectively have to just like cut the Department of Education. McMahon said the president's goal is not to defund key programs, but to have them operate more efficiently. But she questioned whether some programs should be moved to other agencies. Enforcement of the Individual with Disability Education Act, Jesus, tongue-tied. English is hard, guys. She suggested may very well rest better in the Department of Health and Human Services, an agency that already has oversight of disability issues. The agency's Office for Civil Rights, she said, could fit better at the Justice Department. So she pretty much wants to like just get a bunch of little sub-departments in the Department of Education and just kind of move them to other agencies. Let's see what's going on here.
You butchered her name
What's her name? I said McMahon.
McMahon.
McMahon. Listen, bro. I don't know how you say her name.
McMahon.
Oh, damn. That's how you know I'm Cuban, bro. I apologize to Linda already. I said I'm sorry for butchering your name in the beginning. So, how do you say her name again?
McMahon.
McMahon. Bro, the H is silent. Like,
Yeah, it's
I would have. And where's the O in there?
They
McMahon.
don't use ma, they say May.
God.
A.
English.
Yeah, McMahon.
All right. You guys understood, all right?
Mahone.
Mong. That means turd in Spanish. For any of you who did not know that,
Linda
at least
McTurd.
at least to Cubans.
Linda McTurd.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, so Democrats repeatedly grilled McMahon. Is that how you say her name?
McMahon.
McMahon. Jesus. All right, Linda. All right, Linda, on her willingness
Mahone.
to follow orders. Trump or Elon Musk, even if they run afoul of congressional mandates, the issue could come to a head as Trump looks to slash department spending, much of which is ordered by Congress. All right, so they were just pretty much like not having it with her. Supposedly she might get confirmed next week. They're really like slowing down some of these people on purpose. But it's okay. It's gonna happen anyway. They're gonna have to get they're gonna get confirmed. They're gonna deal with it. Like, it is what it is. All right. So Doge cut $900 million in contracts for the Education Department office that tracks progress of students, schools across America. What progress? We've gotten dumber. What progress? What progress are they talking about? We've literally gotten dumber we're like the 30-something in education in the world, dude. And we spend the most money in education. So what progress, like, are we funding is exactly? Raising alarms about the future of the work it has done to support research and tracks achievement gaps. Oh yeah, of course. On Wednesday, the department fired at least 39 employees who were in a 1-year probation period. What? 1 year probation period? Dude, the private sector gives you like 90 days. Some give you 30 days. 1 year. Bro, the government is like incredible. According to a union that represents agency workers, this firing could include civil rights workers, special education specialists, and student aid officials. Trump hasn't said whether he would preserve the core work of the agency, which sends billions of dollars a year to schools, manages 1.6 trillion student loan portfolios, and enforces civil rights in education. Yeah, enforces civil rights. I don't even know what that means, because if you were to ask kids in school right now, like, you know, give me the First Amendment. And what does that mean? I don't know if 75% would know the answer. So, what I think they want to do, and what I think they also should do, these are my thoughts only, is get the money that's being managed through the Department of Education and actually transfer it to the states and allow the states to decide what they want to do with the education system. They want to bring it back to the states. The same thing they did with abortion, they want to do with the education system, and that makes it actually more democratic, because the taxpayers, actually have control over the education system. So again, I don't get it. I don't see what the problem is. Democrats apparently think this is like a really bad idea. I don't get it. But hey, we'll find out if there's repercussions or not, or if this actually for real happens. So moving on to, let's do the Associated Press getting barred from the White House. And then we'll go to Marco Rubio. Just do a little switch there. All right, so a decision that has ignited debates about press freedom and the First Amendment right, which a lot of that has been happening. I just saw a judicial committee hearing that was like 5 hours long. You're probably thinking, how do you do that? I don't know, but I like it, so I can do it. I endure the pain. And the Democrats were the entire time just talking about how Trump's administration has breached the First Amendment right. And that's all they kept saying over and over and over again. And then they're using the constitutional crisis thing and how Elon Musk is bad now. And it's not now Trump is bad. It's now Trump and Elon Musk are bad. And it's like a repetitive messaging over and over and over again. And to me, it's just like, dude, what about when Biden was in power? Where was your rhetoric when the First Amendment was breached during the Biden-Harris administration? Where was the rhetoric? There was no rhetoric. They were completely complicit about it. And that was so much worse during the Biden-Harris administration. And we should not forget it either, because they went after our pocketbooks. They didn't just go after minuscule things. No. They literally forced big tech like Meta to literally censor a shit ton of people, me being one of those people. And I'm literally a nobody, and I was censored. So, and people like RFK were censored. A lot of doctors were censored. But nobody talks about that except the right in that time frame. And then the left was like, no, everything's fine, no big deal. What are you talking about? There were misinformation, disinformation. This is all code for censorship. That's all this is. That's all you're doing. You're encouraging censorship. You're encouraging communism. How are you any different from the Chinese Communist Party? How is the Democrats any different? Like, it's mind-boggling to me. It's just like, I was listening to that for 5 hours and I was like, how do you not see this? But whatever. It is what it is. I see it. You probably see it, but they don't see it somehow. All right, so let's watch this clip really quick. It bothers the shit out of me, but it is what it is. Associated Press. No, it's Marco Rubio. Associated Press.
Wait, I just had that open. Sorry.
You're good.
Wait, up to where? Because it didn't say in the
It's just a little.
beginning.
Yeah.
Apparently they want me on a mic.
Yeah, they want you on a mic.
I don't know why.
I don't know why. Because you have a beautiful voice. That's why. All right. AVP, what it do, bro? What it do? You said yup. What yup about what? Well, while you figure out what you're yupping about.
Rap about me being on mic.
Oh, okay. I guess everybody wants you on a mic. Okay, well, we're going to have to get you on a mic. All right, let's put this real quick.
Committee on
that
Health,
was
Education,
loud.
Labor, and Pensions will please come to order. Ms. McMahon, I appreciate you coming before the committee today. You were very successful leading the Small Business Administration in President Trump's first term, and I'm glad the president has given you another opportunity to serve. You have enormous challenges. At the K through 12 level, students who were behind before the pandemic are even further behind now. According to the latest National Assessment of Educational Progress, or NAEP, reading scores among 4th and 8th graders declined 5 points since the
This is not
pandemic.
it.
Is that it?
No.
So it's on here.
Is that the link that I have under Associated Press?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because that is not it.
Yeah. This is the link.
No, baby, it's not. White House bans the AP indefinitely over the
White
use of
House
Gulf
has
of Mexico.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, that's not it.
So wait, you're gonna skip Marco Rubio?
No, I told you I was gonna go to AVP bans and then go to Marco Rubio.
It's not in order.
I know. I said
The White House has indefinitely banned one of the biggest media organizations in the U.S., the Associated Press, from the Oval Office and from Air Force One. The move comes after the Associated Press chose to continue to use the term Gulf of Mexico for that body of water. Donald Trump did sign an executive order recently, a controversial one. He wants to change the name to Gulf of America. Other news outlets have decided to stick with Gulf of Mexico as well. Photographers for the AP are still allowed to attend events.
All right, so that's literally why they got kicked out, is because they didn't want to say the Gulf of America. They wanted to say the Gulf of Mexico. A lot of other big media outlets are saying the Gulf of Mexico too. They're not saying the Gulf of America. So this is obviously kind of like we're not going to go by your executive orders, kind of a defiance. I mean, I don't know if they can do that. I don't know if they can actually defy what he pretty much made to be like the new way to say the Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America, because you go to Google Maps and it's now the Gulf of America. Like you go to the Apple Maps and it says that. So I don't know if a media press can actually defy what, like, the change that's happened. I don't know if they can actually do that. So I mean, if they can take that to court, and see who's right and who's wrong, but I have a feeling that they cannot actually say, no, you're wrong. It's not the Gulf of America. It's the Gulf of Mexico, when it's been changed to now the Gulf of America. So now that if you don't like that it's been changed, that's your personal feelings towards the change, but it doesn't change the fact that you need to call it what it is now, because that's what it is now, So I have a feeling that I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I'm not anything, but I have a feeling if they were to take this to court, the Trump administration would win, because the Associated Press and the CNN and all these big outlets, which, by the way, the Associated Press supposedly got funded by the USAID department, so that's interesting. But they go through the Federal Communications Commission, which is a federal department that manages communications. So that's a public channel that you're using. So if you're using a public channel that is funded by taxpayers, I don't think you have a right to disagree with a change that's been already done. That's it. You just accept the change. It is what it is. But we'll see what happens there. So let's really quick, Marco Rubio. Now we are understanding why he was chosen. A lot of people are saying this is a terrible pick. This is bad. Why would he do that? But now we know the dude speaks Spanish. Shout out to us Cubans. We have a Cuban in the White House. Pretty cool. And it's because of the Panama Canal. I mean, he spoke about the Panama Canal, Donald Trump, and is trying to go for his second term. And he also spoke about it in his first term. So it's not like this has been new for him. Check it out.
From Panama, and you said that your meetings in Panama went well. After them, President Trump said that we're going to take the canal back, or something very powerful is going to happen. What's going to happen?
Well, I hope nothing's going to happen, and it shouldn't. Because, look, the president's point is we gave the canal in a treaty to Panama. We didn't give it to China. You come back 20 years later and you go to the canal, and on the entry points of both sides of the canal is a Chinese-linked company. In fact, when I was visiting there yesterday, the ship behind me, just over my shoulder, was a Hong Kong shipping vessel. And so their presence, not just in the canal, but in Panama writ large, is very disturbing.
So ridding their presence could solve this whole problem?
Well, we didn't give the canal to China. I mean, it's a violation of the treaty. What I told President Molino yesterday was that President Trump's made a preliminary determination that that there's a violation of the treaty. You're in violation of the treaty because a sovereign other country, a third country, has effective control over the canal area. And that's absent serious measures, we're going to have to preserve our rights under the treaty. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously there are a lot of options in that regard, and I think people speculate things, but I don't think we'll ever get to that point, and it shouldn't get to that point. So we had a very frank conversation. Since then, they've taken some steps. They announced that they're going to get out of the Belt and Road Initiative. We'd like to see more, and we hope to see more in the days to come. The government doesn't control the canal. It's run by an independent agency, the Canal Zone. So they have to go through some legal steps that they have to carry out. But my hope, ultimately, is that we can get back to a point where that canal is what it was meant to be, which is a place where the United States and Panama are working in partnership. It's free it's open for everyone, and that no foreign power, through their companies or any other means, has the ability to use it against us in a time of conflict and impede travel through it, because it would be devastating.
Could easily get resolved without the United States taking direct operational control of the canal.
Yeah, there's a lot of options, and I'm not going to preclude any options about what the final outcome looks like, but at a prerequisite baseline, we cannot continue to have the Chinese, and through their companies, exercising effective control of the canal area. And that needs to happen. I was pretty clear, and I hope that we'll see additional steps in the days to come to reaffirm that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. We will hopefully see some super cooperation there. That way things can stay civilized, and I think they probably will. I don't think there is any reason for them to not cooperate. So let's move on to the constitutional crisis that apparently is going on.
Hold on. I kind of want to touch on that real quick.
Oh, okay. I mean, you have the mic
I'm on
now.
the mic now.
Okay.
So it's crazy how we just let China, like, how did this go unnoticed? You know, like, how is China able to basically infiltrate the Gulf of Mexico to the point where they literally have Chinese officials there, like, guarding that shit? And not only that, but we have these, like, mystery freaking, you know, ships coming in, bringing who knows what into the country.
Yeah. They're also by Cuba, also. They have Chinese ships by Cuba.
I mean, but what I'm getting at is that the Biden administration had to have known.
Yeah, of course they did.
They had to have known, and then they just kind of let it happen. And it's not really the Gulf of Mexico or the Gulf of America. It's the Gulf of China right now.
Jesus.
China.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't understand why that's like an important thing to have control over, and it's because a lot of our exporting goods come through there. Like, a lot of states rely on the Panama Canal.
Okay.
The majority of the country really relies on the Panama Canal, you know, so it doesn't make sense for the President of the United States of America to not actually manage or be on top of the Panama Canal, a route that is used for trading a lot of things that we as consumers consume very often. So I don't know why Biden, I do know why Biden, because he wasn't actually running the country, it was other people running it who obviously have a different agenda of what the priorities of America should be, and apparently it's not the consumer, which is the taxpayer. But now that we have a new sheriff in town and he actually gives a shit, things hopefully will get better, even though a lot of people are still being skeptical. They have a right to be. But I think this is the right direction to take. And I'm so grateful that we're on this timeline, guys. You have no idea. Well, you do have an idea, but like, oh God, I put it this way. I visualized it and it was scary. It was very scary. And I pray every day that he won, because people don't realize we were at a brink of what is going on in Canada and in Europe. Okay, so and we'll get more into detail about that now with this. Okay, so this hearing that we're gonna talk about really quick is about how NGOs are not actually helping businesses, and this is somebody who is what do you call that? She's being interviewed. I forgot what they call people like this. She's not a whistleblower. I forgot the names. It crossed my mind, then it left. But she's pretty much calling out the Democrat side for being full of it, and especially Raskin, who I cannot stand, who was the one that was like, "Oh, we're not gonna ratify the election, and the mob is gonna go crazy." And I showed you guys about that a couple lives ago. Well, she calls him out, and it's freaking amazing. Check it out.
Mr. Correa, who is not here, I wish he was here when he had the nerves to tell us that these regulations are here to help us. I just would like for him to answer me to this situation. Around the 1800s, since the 1800s, it was known that lead pipes that were being used for, that we were using were toxic, bad, causing probably brain damages in children. As early as 1800, it was known. Then you tell me, why is it that it took until 1986 for it to be taken care of? In the meantime, you had the mayor of Chicago who made it mandatory for builders to use lead pipes for the water pipes. Where did government really help us here? Where? I wish Mr. Correa was here. Government is helping us. These regulations are helping us. Give me a break. And I see you looking at each other like this. I will send you my report on this, Mr. Raskin. So thank you so much for giving me that opportunity to respond, because it irks me when I see us sitting in these rooms and when I hear your fights. I don't hear government working for the people. I see government working for government, whatever the heck that sounds like, okay? And I would like, for one, that it is about my safety and about my well-being. And in situations like this, and in as many others like that, it is clear that these regulations are not put in place with us in mind, and that needs to stop. And the fact that, Mr. Raskin, you're here this whole time we've been here, you've just been complaining about the process. I'll call it a process. And again, I'm not disagreeing with your issues right now around Musk and the process that's following Mr. Vladek, the process that you're following. At some point, what is the end game? Isn't the end game to make us, the American people, better off? Isn't it? Isn't it? No, I hear you saying that the stuff that would make us better off doesn't matter. All you care about right now is a process of Musk and his associates are not doing this the right way. Is the goal moral and right or not? If you say it is, as I think you should be saying, then the fight shouldn't be about, we need to take Musk down or Trump down. Let us rethink that if you want, but keep your eye on the ball, and your ball should be me.
Amen. Amen. Yes, girl. Preach, sister. Yes. That was amazing. So that was an oversight hearing on welfare, and she was pretty much calling out the Democrats for being full of it, because they're full of it. It's all about, so Raskin is very technical. You know what? There's nothing wrong with technicality, but are you being moral though? Which is something that a lot of people are so focused on. Oh, you got to go by what it says. You got to go by the book, right? Or you got to go by what the experts say. I go back to that, just how I was talking about that in the beginning. But at the same time, it's what the experts say contradict our morals, perhaps. So then we have to question what the experts are saying. Is that really benefiting me, or is that benefiting them? And that's really what she's talking about here, because all the Democrats want to talk about is, let's talk about how Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going against the system, right? Meaning, you're going against the by the book, right? Which is going through Congress. But at the same time, you're disregarding how your party for 4 years was completely ignoring the fact that the Biden administration was not going by the book. And the Supreme Court had to literally call them out more than 7 times because they were doing a bunch of unconstitutional things. But nobody talks about that on the left. That's why when my previous guest was talking about how I was being partisan, I'm not being partisan. I'm trying to get you and me to be bipartisan by coming to a common ground about something. And that's what I want to do with anything and everyone. I'm it's not about agreeing just to agree. It's about okay, you think one way, I think another way, but let's come to a common ground about what we do agree with. And that's what bipartisanship actually is. Because let's face it, everybody's partisan, everybody's biased. And that's okay. Everybody has their own belief system, but don't come at me and tell me that, by you being factual, you're being bipartisan. No, you're not. You're being partisan because your facts can be skewed.
We don't talk about last stream. All right, we don't talk about last stream.
Oh man,
if y'all haven't seen last stream,
I recommend you watch it, guys. I highly recommend you watch
episode 25.
I'm
take some Advil.
Personal development 101 here. Learn from your failures. All right, that was to me it was not my best performance, and you know what? That it is what it is. You learn from it. I certainly learned from it. I recommend if you have patience and endurance, I recommend you watch it. Even though it wasn't my best podcast, I'm advertising it the most because it was not my best podcast. But yeah, that's just the goal is to get to bipartisanship. That is the goal, because we're not naturally bipartisan. That's BS. The goal is to get there, and we get there by having an open discussion about things we don't agree with and come to a common ground. And that's really what she's talking about there. We get that you don't like the system or what's going on right now, but do you agree though that we need to cut spending? That is the premise of this. But let's look at this other one. So this is a reporter or a journalist talking about how Brazil is attacking free speech. And they're not the only ones. The United Kingdom's also doing it. Australia's doing it. So we have a lot of people that are choosing to go through the Chinese government route, and they're controlling what speech is and what is good and bad speech. And apparently false speech is not acceptable, when I don't know why that shouldn't, whatever. We'll talk about it. Check this out. This irks me.
Thank you for having the hearing. The public should again and again hear about the danger to the First Amendment that's going on, because I know when it comes to election season, they poll stuff, and they do insist, spend more time talking about the price of eggs than somebody trying to take away the First Amendment. But let's talk a little bit about some other countries so we see where we may be headed. Mr. Schoenberger, could you elaborate a little bit more about what's going on in Brazil and how it affects this country?
Sure. I mean, Brazil is, there's a lot of lessons that are important from Brazil. I mean, the first is that it makes you appreciate the First Amendment, and that it was written in such an unqualified way. I mean, you may know Alexander Hamilton didn't think we needed a First Amendment because it was redundant. We did it anyway because people that created this country really believed in it. In Brazil, the Constitution does not provide that level of protection. There's too many qualifications. What you're hearing from this side of the aisle today is that, we got to qualify the First Amendment in all these ways. The Supreme Court has made it very clear what those qualifications are. So you've got a constitution that allows for the Supreme Court to engage in just ridiculous levels of censorship. They've now banned some politicians from every single social media platform. They've also they've frozen people's bank accounts for things that they've done that would have been considered a First Amendment right in the United States.
Canada did that.
As you see, they've targeted foreigners like myself for publishing inconvenient information. So yeah, Brazil is a warning for us, I think, about what can go wrong if you stop believing in the essential importance of free speech.
Yeah. All right. Let's watch this other one here, and then I'll give my reaction to both of them. The IRS came after a reporter. This happened about 3 years ago, and there was a hearing about it. But apparently we need to talk about it again because people ignored it when it happened because Biden was in power, so censorship was okay. But now that we realize censorship is not okay because we have a president that is not a censorship guy, even though they claim he is because of what happened with AP. You can't even compare one to the other, but whatever. Check this out. This is insane. The fact that this happened to this guy is scary.
Many of the programs that Michael and I reported on in the Twitter files, these are taxpayer-funded programs that are being spent to remove the speech of the taxpayers themselves or to encourage platforms to take down content of the taxpayers. And I think most people would disagree with that allocation of resources. I'm hearing a lot about Elon Musk. Does that mean that I should be in favor of the Department of Homeland Security partnering with Stanford University to do a mass flagging program ahead of the 2020 election where the speech of ordinary citizens was taken down? These are two completely separate issues, but it's the institutional problem. We've created all these institutions. The Global Engagement Center is one, a counter misinformation program, the FBI's Foreign Influence Task Force, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. These are all big institutions that are part of the government that are directed towards this exact activity, and it has to be shut down in order for us to get back to an absolutely free press environment.
On March 9th, 2023, I believe you were in this building testifying, and the IRS knocked on your door. Give us a retrospective, if you could do it kind of briefly. I've got other questions here. Give me a retrospective as you look back on that incident 2 years ago.
Yeah, I came back from testifying before this committee on the train. My wife told me that the IRS had left a note on my door. They had knocked while I was testifying. This, again, is why I'm finding it funny that people are suddenly concerned about the harassment of journalists. I don't remember any of you saying anything when this happened at the time.
You think it's a coincidence?
We subsequently learned, thanks to Mr. Chairman Jordan, who reached out to the Treasury, that case was opened on me on December 24th, 2022, when probably the most consequential Twitter files report that I dropped was published. It was a Saturday and it was Christmas Eve. I don't think the IRS is usually working that day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Homeboy got that Megamind wrist. Look at that forehead, though. Damn.
That guy is an incredible journalist, and he was the one who dropped the Twitter files. So his testimony when he did it in 2023 was staggering. And then this one was also, because it's just, what's crazy to me is these last 4 years, in that hearing, Jim Jordan, which was the chairman, representative of Ohio, he was literally saying how they were trying to create a committee for censorship during the Biden administration. Like, they actually tried to do this. So if Trump would have not won and Kamala Harris would have won, my gut is telling me we would have had a committee that we're paying for to censor us. Okay? We would have became UK, we would have became Australia, we would have became freaking Canada, shutting people up because the government has a right to say what is good speech and what is bad speech. Apparently false speech is, it's not, it should be illegal. You shouldn't be saying false things online. A lot of countries apparently believe that. Thankfully, America does not. As of right now, we still believe in the First Amendment, which actually protects hate speech also. Now, it doesn't protect direct hate speech, but a generic, speech that's hateful is protected under the First Amendment. And what they're trying to do is that can no longer be protected because they want to, censor us using disinformation, misinformation, malinformation, and false speech would be included in that. So that's why I'm saying I'm very grateful for Trump winning. I'm grateful that we know that apparently our tax dollars are being spent on things that should not be spent on. It's making us want to know more. Okay, what else are we spending our money on that you haven't told us about? And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that we should question the government. We are funding you, so you should answer every question and doubt we have over what you're doing with our money. Like, I don't even know how this is controversial, but it is apparently. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. Oh my God, agreed. Let's not even get started. Yeah, laugh my ass off. Yeah, dude.
The stuff they're spending money on is just ridiculous.
It is.
Did you see the one about the frogs?
Which
and how they turned the freaking frogs gay?
Oh my God, this guy.
No, it's the one about the whether the wild frogs and the urban frogs have different mating calls type shit. Like, they're spending millions on that shit.
It's just, I don't know, I mean,
for me, it's just money laundering.
Yeah, it's definitely, yeah, right.
Because we're out of ideas,
And at the same time, how is it that these people that are on a salary, how do they have millions of dollars in net worth? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? How does that
on 100K to 200K?
How does that make sense? What are you doing, bro? What do you? What are you investing your whole salary? How are you surviving? I don't understand. So it's what I think they're scared of is that we now have a reason to question them. We now have a reason to not trust them. And that's why they're using, constitutional crisis. Elon Musk is going against the Constitution and he is doing a breach in government and he is not an elected official. He is not allowed to do this. This is illegal, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, this is just rhetoric because they're scared that we are wait a minute. Why are you mad at Elon Musk for telling us that you're wasting money on things that we don't agree with? I understand that you don't agree with the way he told us, but let's not forget the objective here. You're spending money on things we don't agree with. So, which is the same problem that we have with senators, with Tulsi Gabbard, how they didn't want, they were mad that she didn't want to say that Snowden was a traitor, and it's like, because he wasn't a traitor. His approach to exposing their massive surveillance at the time may not have been probably the best approach to them, obviously, but he wasn't a traitor to the American people because we found out that we were being surveillanced. Like, this is the same concept. Like, yeah, maybe the approach that Elon Musk is taking isn't the best approach, but thanks to Elon Musk, we know now that you're spending money on stupid shit that we don't want to spend money on. Like, to me, it's just priorities. Like, they're choosing to prioritize the process of how you expose the truth versus the truth. But whatever. Like, we're going to see what's going to happen. Like, I'm grateful. We literally survived. Like, we were at a fork in the road, guys. Like, it was either freedom for another 4 years or censorship. Like, legit. Like, I truly believe that, and people are gonna go, maybe you're being dramatic. I'm not. Like, if they were trying to create a committee to censor people, then yes, I have every right to believe that we were going through a censorship route with Kamala Harris winning. And she was, the fact that a lot of people voted for her. So, like, a lot of people subconsciously, because I don't want to believe that you did this intentionally, subconsciously voted for censorship. Like, which is wild to say that out loud now that I said it out loud, but that's literally what happened. Vote for Kamala is a vote for censorship. that's glad that the majority of us were like, yeah, we're gonna not do that. Okay, we see what's going on in Canada. We see what's going on in United Kingdom. We're not gonna go through that here. We can't, because if we go through that route, then the First Amendment is just, what is it? There's no value in it. And at the end of the day, that is the First Amendment for a reason, because it protects the rest of them that come afterwards. So, guys, this has been amazing. It was a little short because there's more for the next one. So I wanted to keep it short because there's other ones that are still in update stories. But I'm glad you guys showed up. Thank you guys for staying tuned and, listening to me rant about how, like, ludicrous our federal government is. But it's getting cleaned up, hopefully. So we'll see what happens. But thank you guys so much. Please subscribe, share, like, and once again, this is Married Truth Talks.
Wait,
What happened?
hold on. There's one thing I want to point out.
Oh, damn. You could have cut me off in the beginning.
No, I mean, you're in your groove. I didn't want to mess you
All
up.
right, cool.
Put on
Go.
your glasses. Put on your glasses.
Oh, you want me to put on my glasses?
Put on your glasses.
Oh, my God. What do I have a feeling this guy's going to make fun of this guy's head?
Listen, all right. I have to make this point.
You're something else.
I have to make this point. This is the closing argument. Does this guy not look like Megamind? Come on. Come on.
Oh, my God. Yes.
Come on, guys.
He does. Without the little beard. Without the little.
Right?
Yeah, he does.
Right? All right. That's all I want to say. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Way to close the show here. Way to close the show. Right, this guy looks like Megamind? Yes, he does. And it's funny because Megamind is blue and he's actually a Democrat. Fun fact.
Oh, look at that. Perfect.
Yeah, he's actually a Democrat. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Married Truth Talks.